We've got breaking news here on the channel. Leon Rose and the New York Knicks are signing former first-round pick MarJon Beauchamp to a two-way contract. We told you guys earlier on in the video today the Knicks were going to make a move, and this is one of them. They still have potential 2 more moves to make. This is why you subscribe to the channel, though. When the Knicks make a move, when there's news to talk about it, we break it down quicker than anybody else on YouTube. So if you want free, informative, entertaining content every day on your New York Knicks, hit that sub button and help us get to 61,000 subscribers. Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. We're going to do a little bit of a scouting report on MarJon Beauchamp on today's video. Then we're going to talk about Moses Brown as well as TJ Warren as potential options for the New York Knicks to go out and sign. MarJon Beauchamp was the 24th overall selection back in the 2022 NBA draft. He ended up playing for the G League Ignite, went to community college for I think half a season or half a year, then ended up going straight to the G League Ignite. Still just 24 years old, and he's played for the Bucks and the Clippers throughout his NBA career. He's got good size at 6'6.5" from G League Ignite. Hasn't really put up the production, I would say, that would have kept him in the NBA at this point. I expect him to spend a lot of time with the Westchester Knicks, and maybe he ends up and comes and plays a couple of games off of the bench for the New York Knicks, but I don't expect him to be a major minute getter for this squad. Throughout his career, he's played in over 120 games, averaging 4.2 points per game, just shy of 2 rebounds. His best skill in the NBA is probably his ability to knock down the outside shot, shooting 35.7% from deep throughout his career. But in the last 2 seasons, he shot better than 40% from 3 and 37.5% from 3. And when you pair that with the athleticism that he possesses, the potential that he does have on the defensive end with that 6'6.5" height, this is someone that has some tools to maybe be a player down the road in the NBA. And I like the idea of taking a flyer on a former first-round pick that had a high profile and a high ceiling coming out of high school, going to play for the G League Ignite, didn't work for the Milwaukee Bucks, only played for a little bit of time with the LA Clippers. But it's a move that you're essentially buying a lottery ticket on. And to be honest with you, I would rather have MarJon Beauchamp over Matt Ryan and Jacob Toppin on a 2-way deal. We know who Jacob Toppin is at this point. We definitely know who Matt Ryan is. Maybe the New York Knicks can end up seeing MarJon Beauchamp reach that potential that a lot of people thought he once possessed. Shout out to NBA New York on Twitter, just giving some new information on him. New 2-way Knicks MarJon Beauchamp, 24-year-old, 6'7" wing. He actually worked out for the New York Knicks prior to getting drafted 24th overall by the Milwaukee Bucks back in 2022. He was traded to the Clippers in February. He was then waived in March. 2-way means he is not playoff eligible. That is important. Not playoff eligible. 39.3% from 3 the last 2 years in limited minutes, and 20-plus points and 6 rebounds in the G League. Bobby Marks adding some context to, although he is ineligible to play in the playoffs, he is eligible to be active for 12 of the remaining 22 games for the New York Knicks. When he signed that 2-way deal, you just can't play every single game. You got to spend some time in Westchester. He will do that. This is a player that I don't see really making any impact on the New York Knicks this year, maybe next year, and really just a developmental piece that they're going to hope reaches the potential that some people thought he once had. What's your one-word reaction to the signing of MarJon Beauchamp? You go out, you sign a guy that was drafted in the 20s a couple of years ago, still 24 years old. You see some NBA traits in him. Do the New York Knicks, do they hit the lottery here? Give me your one-word reaction. I got phrases: low risk, potentially high reward. There's really no risk to signing MarJon Beauchamp. It is a 2-way contract. It doesn't really affect the salary cap whatsoever. And you had 2 2-way deals to fill, because just yesterday the New York Knicks said goodbye to Jacob Toppin and they said goodbye to Matt Ryan. You are allowed to have 2 players on 2-way contracts. You took 2 of them, or 3 players actually, and they cut 2 of them, and Jacob Toppin and Matt Ryan, and now MarJon Beauchamp, he ends up filling one of those spots. The Knicks still can make more roster moves, and I expect them to make more roster moves. very, very soon. That's why you subscribe, and that's why you turn notifications on. One, they still have an open two-way roster spot. And two, they still have an open roster spot on their big league New York Knicks team. They have 14 players on their active roster. You're allowed to have up to 15. And we've told you guys for months now, March 1st was the date that the New York Knicks were targeting to sign a player because a prorated veteran minimum contract barely fits under that second April for the New York Knicks after March 1st. And here we are on March 3rd. Stephen Bonnie reporting this over the weekend. According to sources, the New York Knicks have had contact with at least two G League prospects, veteran wing TJ Warren and center Moses Brown, about a potential call-up to sign an active roster deal. Also adding, there were no commitments to either as of Friday. And I think the New York Knicks are going to continue to scour the market, but they're absolutely going to look at TJ Warren first. Warren has been someone that's lighting it up in the G League over like 35 games and 35 minutes he's played for the Westchester Knicks, averaging 25 points per game. He's doing it at a high clip when it comes to efficiency. And Tom Thibodeau was very complimentary of the way Warren has carried himself as a pro and just been kind of a veteran for that Westchester Knicks team. And this is someone that has had success in the NBA. You think of a guy like TJ Warren, and you're probably saying to yourself, this is a guy that's a veteran, over the hill, way too long in the tooth. He's only 31 years old, and there is still tread left on those tires. And this was a guy from 2016 to 2021, averaged 17 points per game over a 292-game sample size. He is a bucket getter. He can score from the mid-range. He can throw it in from deep. He can get you a bucket when you need to, and I think he could be the guy that ends up getting that 15th roster spot. Unfortunately, I don't know if TJ Bubble Warren still exists. And if he did, that would be a major get for the New York Knicks. I'll never forget the bubble performance that he put on, averaging over 26 points per game and doing it on unreal efficiency. It was crazy that in 2020, in the bubble, TJ Warren was one of the bigger storylines. I still can't believe it. What do you get if you do sign Warren? You get a veteran off the bench. You get a guy that could score for you. And most importantly, you add a little bit of depth to your wings, because we know you're going to play OG Anunoby 40 minutes. You know you're going to play Josh Hart 40 minutes. And you know you're going to play Mikal Bridges 40 minutes. Outside it when he gets benched in the fourth quarter and does not play in overtime for Deuce McBride, which was kind of the reason the New York Knicks ended up winning that ball game. That's another discussion for another day, though. There's some pros to signing TJ Warren. I also think there's some pros to going out and signing a guy like Moses Brown, the 7'2" center at 245 pounds that has played 163 games in the NBA, and this past year, playing games with Indy and playing games with Dallas, he showed that he can at least compete in this league. Unfortunately, the Mavs were unable to sign him to a second 10-day contract due to this awesome new CBA. But, man, he was awesome, and they would have loved to have him back. Talked to my guy Jeffrey Cooperstein, who covers the Mavericks here at Chat Sports, and he said he was awesome. Had a game of 20 and 18 and had a game of 18 and 9. And with the lack of depth the Mavs have at that center spot, they really want to bring him back. But unfortunately, they can't due to money problems. You look at some pros of signing Brown, you get another guy that has some legit size. 7'2", you get one of the biggest centers in the NBA. You also get some center depth, and he's one of the better rebounders in the G League, and he's shown in the NBA, having 18 rebounds in a game, that he could do it in the big leagues. I really look at the center depth because right now you have Karl Anthony Towns and you got Mitchell Robinson, and that's it. Those are the only two healthy centers that you have on this roster. So you only really got one backup in Mitch. I think Precious Achiuwa is going to start to see his minutes get cut a little bit. Kind of figured out at this point that he's a little bit too small to be a center. He can give you good minutes at the power forward spot, but other teams just make him be your offensive attack because they sag off on him. It puts you in trouble. I don't know. I think there are cases for both of these guys to get that final roster spot. Who do you think it should be? Should they sign the 7'2" center, or should they sign the journeyman wing scorer? Type MB for Moses Brown. Type TJ for TJ Warren. Which one of these guys do you want to see we're in the orange and blue for the remainder of the season? Make sure you guys are following me over on social media. I told you the first place you were going to find out about the Knicks making a roster move was on my Twitter. I tweeted it out right when the news dropped. So give me a follow on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. And if you want short form Knicks content on IG, hit me up at @MarshallGreen_. We're going to be live on the channel tomorrow for the game. Warriors tomorrow. Going on that West Coast stretch. Time to lock in. Subscribe, and let's go Knicks.